For the first time together on the KJ Today Show, it's Martin and Jesse Kove. Good morning, Martin and Jesse.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
It is the KJ Today Show, your place for the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets. And Martin and Jesse Kove, you've both been on the show before, but never together. So are you guys excited to be together promoting another project?
We're always excited to be promoting stuff together, so thank you.
It's always good to be. It's always good to be with my son.
So we're talking this morning about Farhaven, which has been out, but it's about to make its debut on Sunday, April 14th on INSP. I wanted to start with you, Martin, and pose the question. This is a Western, and do you have any thoughts on why this particular genre still continues to appeal to us and we want more stories?
Well, thanks to Taylor Sheridan. I believe in this. He wrote this film 1883, which was on Paramount Plus, and then of course people caught on to Yellowstone. But I think 1883 was brilliant because it was about the American drive coming across in wagon trains. And I just, I analyze this all the time. We have a Western comic book coming out that we're trying to make into a series. And Jesse just did a movie called The Gunfighter's Deal about he makes a deal with the devil to be the fastest gun in the West. The genre itself is the first part of American cinematic heritage. In 1906, no, it was 1903, they made a movie called The Great Train Robbery. And it was a silent movie. But what was interesting is that I think all that silent era, which set up the Western, all the people were still living in those days. So they'd go and they'd watch a movie about Tombstone, and it was 1910, and they were still around when there was the gunfight at the OK Corral just in 1881. So you had the same people, the farmers, the people, the ranchers, all those people were now experiencing silent movies. And the first movies we made were Westerns. They weren't gangster movies or they weren't romantic movies. The first films that came out of Hollywood were Westerns. And in that silent era, all the people were still living who watched those films in Abilene, who watched them in, Tucson, and they lived in the West as well. So I think there they were watching themselves on the silent screen, and they adhered to it and they loved it. And the genre is all about, American progress and, the good things and the bad things that we did in the West. And
it's also the height of drama. It's the height of drama and struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's endless.
And romance.
Jesse and I watched 1883 and what the immigrants were given a paper back in Europe, and they said get free land in America. So they came here and they had to entertain snakes, Native Americans, outlaws, tornadoes, and rivers. And those were five things that anybody who wanted land and wanted to live in the West had to entertain. And I think that's part of what we as Americans are about, endless adventure and conquering the unknown,
Yeah. Well, speaking of adventure, Jesse, I wanted to ask you, because there is a scene in Farhaven, and it seems like your gun work is pretty on point. You're rapid firing, and it's one of those really, just intense, amazing scenes. Can you take us through, filming that? Do you have, a say, or are you getting the direction? And do you need to be shooting your gun like this, Jesse?
Well, I'm so glad you saw that. So I do train. I do a lot of firearms training. I train over at Terran Tactical. Terran Butler, who trained Keanu Reeves for all the John Wick movies, and Tom Cruise, and everybody who's done every major shootout you've seen in the last 10 years. He's trained. I work with him. But when I was on set during that day, my scenes are with Bruce Boxleitner, and that scene that you saw that's in the trailer, that was actually basically improvised in the moment. My dad, he was on set that day, and he said to me, he's like, you know what, Jesse, why don't you fan the gun, which means when you rapid fire like that with your hand. And I did it, and the director loved it, and they wanted to get a special shot of that. So you have to thank my dad for that shot. Those are the kind of magical things that happen on set when we're working together.
Oh, I love that. And, it's always such a joy to talk to each of you, and the love and the celebration of your relationship always comes through. I wanted to switch over to another project that you did together, along with the KJ Today Show. I am the kitty correspondent for Pet Pals TV. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your dog Bubba and the episode of The Wizard of Paws, and just kind of get an update on how your three-legged dog adjusted to getting a prosthetic. How cool was that?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm actually looking at him right now. I just took him out to pee. He's doing so well, and Derek over at Wizard of Paws, they're such an incredible organization. He literally is an angel. I mean, he literally rescues animals every day who are, have missing limbs or, have disabilities, and he's just amazing. And he made a wonderful prosthetic leg for Bubba, and Bubba's doing well. He's thriving, and he's running around, and I have Derek to thank, and Wizard of Paws and Bionic Pets to thank for him giving a bit of his freedom back. So I'm looking at him right now. He's a sweet little boy.
Well, thank you for rescuing.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you.
He's also a pit bull. There's no bad pit bulls. There's just bad dog owners, parents.
Thank you so much for saying that. It's so true. We've got to change the narrative on pit bulls. They're wonderful dogs.
Yes,
they're just the best. I'm so in love with this dog. I never talked to my son in Los Angeles without needing to see that face on FaceTime. He's a precious, precious little dog. Precious.
Oh, we could tell from the episode, Martin, that you are a proud grandfather of Bubba. And I was wondering, with your schedule, because you have been, I mean, obviously we know you from the Karate Kid, but you have been so active all of your life. I mean, you've had so many roles. Were you able, when Jesse was growing up, were you able to have pets with that active lifestyle you had?
That's interesting, very interesting question. Was I able to have pets? Yeah, we always had pets. We always had pets. I mean, we adopted, I had a ranch at one time in Agora, and it burnt down in 78, and I lost everything. And then we still had the dogs. The dogs were with us, and we moved into town. We had two, it was Cocker Spaniels, and they were mixed. They were three little Hepburn was her name, Tracy and Hepburn. And we moved into the Hollywood Hills, and the kids always had a dog around. You always had Hepburn around.
We love cats too.
Yeah, we had two cats, and we always had pets. And even when we moved around different houses, we had pets. And now is the only time I don't have a dog. And I'm going to get an English bulldog, but I didn't get a dog because I'm shooting so long that I didn't want to have a dog in the apartment in Atlanta. And so as soon as I get back to the ranch in Nashville, I'm going to get an English bulldog and a puppy. And I just want a dog that'll hang out with me. I don't want to do anything with it. I don't need it to do any special things. I just
want a lazy dog.
A lazy dog. That's all I want. Is a lazy dog. I've had so many dogs. I had a dog in New York when I started acting. His name was Paris, and I had a lot of German Shepherds. He had a girlfriend named Samantha, and we had 10 puppies. And it was like living in New York with 10 German Shepherd puppies, and we had to give them away to different people. But my father was allergic to pets, so I never could have a pet growing up. So when I was like 23, I had my first dog, you know.
And Jesse, I heard you mention cats. I'm the same way. Someday I'm going to get that like old dog that just needs a great home and just wants to lay on the couch and cuddle with me. But I work in rescue, so we've got 7 cats at the house right now, and it's
Oh my
always
God, you're amazing.
it's always great to hear when someone says, "Don't forget the cats," right?
My pit bull, he gets along with my cat so well. They're like friends. And, like you said, rescuing is the way to go. Like Bubba, my pit bull, he knows he's been saved. So he like is just such a grateful little boy, and he's so happy. And, it's really, I've put him through training, and he's just amazing. And, he was a rescue from Mexico. Most people would say, 3-legged dog from Mexico. Oh, we can't deal with that. And he just snuggles on my chest, and I can't imagine my life without him.
I love it. Jesse, to go back to the last time we talked, we got into our nerdy obsessions. We talked Harry Potter, we talked Marvel.
Yes.
But you brought up, I wanted to ask if there's any update. You brought up that you shot a pilot about a super soldier in the future. Do you have any updates on that? Because man, I hope that ends up being something we get to see.
So they're actually, funny enough, they just sent me a video day before yesterday because they've been editing it all this time. There's a lot of visual effects in this project. So it looks awesome, and they're going to be pitching it out to networks very soon. And but I'm very excited how it looks. It's called Forsaken Mercenary, and it's a book series. So if you go online, you can pick up the book and you can read it. And I'm playing that character. So Forsaken Mercenary. It's written by Jonathan Yanez, and you can go on Amazon, check out the books. It's really, really a great storyline. It's very exciting, and I can't, hopefully things will go and it'll be great.
Oh, I'm excited to hear that it's still moving in the right direction. Martin, do you share this love of sci-fi that Jesse has as well?
Well, I enjoy, Westerns have always been my favorite genre, but when a sci-fi film is done really with a lot of freshness, like for instance, like Road Warrior, there was that touch of sci-fi into the original Road Warrior, and then as things progress, I like the combination of time travel. I really like. In fact, when I was a kid, people say, "What do you want to grow up?" And I was little, and I would say, "I want to be a time traveler," because I just loved going back, to the days of Rome, or back to the Alamo, or just go to the future. And I always thought there was a profession called time traveling, that someone would do. So time travel has always been the part of sci-fi that I like the most when it's done well. Sometimes Star Trek would do it. And it was hard for a television show to really go back in time and do it well. But, movies can go back in time. The original, time travel movie that was done back in 1960 with, I think it was, I've forgotten his name, but the original I think it was, the Time Tunnel, and then it became a
Time
series.
Machine.
Time Machine, yes, and it was the Australian actor. God, I can't remember. My brain's a little tired, but with Yvette, I think Yvette Mimieux was in it. And in any case, those movies were terrific. And anything going back in time or forward in time. Rod Taylor, that's it. Yes, I love those films, and I like the time travel movies the best. And when they introduce a concept where there's a time machine, today they make incredible sci-fi movies with effects that it's a pleasure to watch. It really is. I enjoy it almost as much as a Western.
You can't see me sitting here, but I have a big TARDIS in my office. I'm also a fan of the time travel, Martin. I would love to, continue chatting with you guys. It's always so wonderful to have both of you on the show. You bring such a positive vibe. Please keep us posted on the upcoming projects. And we'll be watching. Sunday, April 14th is when Farhaven is going to hit INSP. Martin Kove and Jesse Kove, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for another celebrity interview. Of course, the KJ Today Show isn't just about talking to celebs, it's about hanging out with you. Join us live on Wednesday nights for pop culture, people to know, and pets. The KJ Today Show on YouTube. Subscribe and watch live Wednesday nights at 7.